All right, there we go. So today I wanted to talk about doing open houses with all the changes now in the world because we have to, disclose a little bit more, make sure that we're sharing a little bit more information. So the first thing I wanted to do is make sure that you guys are aware that we've got some resources in place to use to make it easy for you to at least get started. So let me share that real quick.
This is
Yes.
good because we have like 3 listings coming up right now between you and me, so that's good.
Okay. So do you have, can you guys see my screen okay?
You're gonna have to make that a little bigger if you can. Well, actually, I might be able to make it. There we go. I got it on my side. You're
So
good.
you can get to the Google Drive from the agent resources page. And in the Google Drive, there's a folder for open house docs. So there's a
Nice.
couple of things in here. It's like the table topper, which just says, hey, welcome to the house. We've got the things in the office where you can put the sheet in there just to like put on the kitchen island or whatever you want to do. There's a flyer that you can edit if you want to like put it in some mailboxes or drop off doors earlier the day before the open house or the actual day before the open house. Hopefully that came around the right way. So either you put the directionals out on Friday if you're doing Saturday or whatever, and you can put these in mailboxes or drop them off on the street or whatever, or you can get there 30 minutes early and just walk up and down the street and hand them out. I always just would say, and the way I was taught is, hey, I'm doing an open house today or tomorrow, blah, 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 the hours, you might see some additional traffic. If you do, it's just because of that. Feel free to stop by and come take a look. If you know somebody who you'd like to be your neighbor, send them my way. Just that simple, just kind of a courteous thing to let folks know. There's also a sign-in sheet here, which you can print off. If you want to have people manually sign in, we'll talk about the digital option in just a little bit. But if you just want to have people manually sign in, you can take a clipboard or just have a sheet and a piece of paper or the piece of paper and a pen out there on the kitchen island. And if you struggle with the objections, it's like, I don't want to sign in, it's like, the seller requests that you sign in so they know who's in their house, right? And also what you need to do, because you're there to get new clients, of course, that's the huge benefit of doing an open house, but you're also there representing the firm and the listing agent, right? So you need to collect their agent information if they're working with an agent already, and then give that to the listing agent so the listing agent can follow up in the event that maybe someone is interested. So make sure not that you press for that, but ask for it, because and help them explain why or help them understand why. Then the last thing in the Google Drive itself anyways is just like a little open house procedures reminder. So the week of, make sure you know the listing, of course, what's going on with the house so you can speak to it without looking at an MLS sheet when you're there at the open house. When we do the social media posts, feel free to share those and say, hey, I'm going to be doing this, stop by and see me, come check out this house. Canvass the neighborhood, like I said, drop off the flyers in the mailboxes or at the door, go door knocking a little bit, something like that, something that only takes like 10 or 15 minutes. Make sure that you book in the showing service, so through Broker Bay or whatever. The day of your open house, get there at least 15 minutes early to make sure the house is ready. That means curtains open, blinds open, things look neat, not cluttered, stuff like that. Turn on all the lights so people don't have to do it as they're walking through. Go ahead and do it. Like if you were to get to a showing before your clients get there, I'll walk through and turn on all the lights before they get there so I don't have to do it when they arrive. Same thing for the open house. Make sure all the doors are open, all the lights are on, everything. And close the toilet lids. We've talked about that before. You know how much I love the toilet lids being closed. So just make it look good, right? Don't assume that the sellers have left it in, open house ready form, although hopefully they have. Put out the directionals in the sandwich board. So you want the sandwich board in front of the house, right? So it's very obvious that there's an open house going on, but also, especially if it's back in a neighborhood or not right on a main road, put up the open house directional so people know, hey, there's an open house going on. Heck, you want foot traffic, right? You're trying to get clients. So make sure that it's easy for people who are driving by to see, not just people who have seen it on a search online, right? Have your registration sheet out like we talked about. I will always have my laptop open with like the virtual tour of the open house playing, and also so people can sign up. One thing that I always had a lot of success doing at open houses is it's pretty rare that the people are actually interested in buying that particular house. And there's nothing wrong with that. So seize that opportunity and take advantage. Talk to them about their criteria, sign them up on your website, and build a search form right there. Pull up the search results right there. Have you seen this house? Have you seen this house? Have you seen this house? Would you like to go see this house? Okay, well, I can meet you, 30 minutes after the open house is over with, things like that. Seize that opportunity. The thing about open houses is people usually aren't out and about unless they're really serious about doing something. So make sure that you're meeting them where they are in the process and jump on it and provide some value and some opportunity, right? That's the beauty of it. Bring your bring MLS sheets if they're not already there. Bring your comp so you can advise them on the price if they're really interested in it. Bring your own. That's fine. Bring working with forms, especially in this market now. You need to be able to explain working with real estate agents and why it's important, right? If you're there for the firm, to a degree, you're a sub agent for the seller until you have agency with the buyer. So you don't have to 100% have an agency agreement. But if you're talking about going to see other houses afterwards, well, that's the time where you need to engage in that conversation. Charles actually sent me something really interesting this week that said you have to be really careful about doing open houses for people who aren't part of your company now, because technically you're showing them the house and you need to have an agency agreement to show them the house. We can talk about that separately. For today, we're just talking about open houses for the team. Bring your cards, your information, any stuff. Some people like to bring water bottles. Some people like to bake cookies or bring cookies, things like that. Do what makes you happy. I've never done cookies or anything like that. I'm certainly not against doing that. When you get there, walk through the house first, not just to turn on the lights, but so you know where everything is, of course. And again, know the information about the property. Look at the disclosure. Know the age of the roof, the HVAC. Know if they've done updates. Know the lot size. Know the HOA information. All of that stuff. Be prepared to talk about the house like you're the listing agent, right? You should know everything about it. So make sure that you're prepared. And talk to people when they come. That's the whole point of being there, is to engage with people. And don't feel like that you're bothering them. They came to you. You didn't come to them, right? So be there, meet them where they are, talk to them, engage them, give them the information, provide the value, find out if they're working with somebody. And if they're not, earn their trust and get yourself a client, right? That's the whole point on doing it as a buyer agent, right? After the house, please don't forget to pick up the signs. If people sign in on the piece of paper, get them in your CRM if you don't do it while they're there, and get them set up with a search. Make sure that you're engaging with them and you don't miss the opportunity. Do it that day. Don't wait to the next day. Engaged right away. Get engaged with them right away. Call them. Thank them for attending. See if they have any other questions about the house after seeing it, etc. Get them in your follow-up, drip or smart plan or whatever, if you don't have a plan for them otherwise. For, like I mentioned, if it's someone who toured that's working with an agent, share that information with the listing agent so they can follow up with the agent, so that agent knows that their client is out touring open houses, and also to ask if they ask them any questions about it, or if they're interested, if you can do anything to help, or we can do anything to help. Discuss your feedback, and this is a really big point. Discuss your feedback with the listing agent before you submit it through Broker Bay or Showing Time or whatever it is, so they can work with you to craft an appropriate message, for the seller. Any questions about any of that? Mostly stuff we're doing already, but just to make sure that you don't forget about some of these little things to make your open house more successful. Also, which really isn't on here, but sometimes we do an open house and guess what? It rains that day, so nobody comes through, or it's just a slow day. Come with a work plan and be busy and accomplish something if you don't get a lot of traffic. Use that time to prospect or reach out or do a social media post, to let people know Hey, you're out and working. Hey, come see this house. Do a video walkthrough or do a short video of you in front of the house, whatever. Seize the opportunity to get some more content out there to, stir up the anthill that is your sphere. Any questions about that? Nope. Okay.
I will say that with the like what to bring, I did cookies one time at Janine's listing, and I just bought them at the grocery store, took a platter, put them in the microwave. People loved that the cookies were there, and they felt like it was more homey because it smelled like cookies in there. I mean, nobody was really that interested that day, but it was just
That's
easy.
a great point. And honestly, I've never even thought about microwaving them before to kind of get the smell out. That's a great idea, Connor.
And for everybody else's safety, I just bought them at the grocery store.
Yeah, that's fair. It's like you can bring cookies to school, but you got to buy them at Harris Teeter or whatever. You can't bring cookies. Yeah, that's a great point. And I love the microwave them so it kind of gets the scent out there. That's a great idea. Thanks.
And everybody loves mimosas too. We do that when I do those. So
the other thing I wanted to point out about the open houses is the open house form in Lofty, which we talked about a couple of weeks ago when we did this. So for this, you go to marketing in your CRM, and then you come down to the open house forms, right? And then you'll probably get a blank screen here, and you can do add new, and then you can just type in the property that you're doing. And this is to create the form and everything. So it prompts you to select a picture, and then you can select the default questionnaire, which basically is what's your name, what's your email, what's your phone number, how much your price range. Are you working with an agent? Do you have to sell a house first? What's your time frame, etc. So you can do that. You can also switch it to the QR code, so you can just have the QR code. One thing that we talked about doing and that Charles did that first week after he did an open house when we talked about this was he basically printed the QR code and put it on a piece of paper on the front door and said, scan this and fill out the form before you enter for the open house. Right. So yeah, we want to collect people's information because we want to work with them if they're not represented, but we're also collecting information because it's our duty to the seller that we know who's been in their house, right? If someone is seeing it with an agent, like a regular showing, then they're registered in Broker Bay or Showing Time or whatever. So in the event that something happens, at least we have a paper trail that we can go back to. This is the same thing. You need to know who's in the house, right? So make sure that you're having people do that. And if you struggle with talking about why it's how you need to overcome that objection, if it is an objection for folks, we can talk about that a little more. But very succinctly, it's, the seller wants to know who's in their house. Any questions about that? So you do that. You can select the questionnaire. You can also have the boxes checked, so it sends them a welcome email when they sign up. It sends them a text. It registers as a team lead, of course. And then that's really it. You could also build your own questionnaire, but it's there with the really important questions that we want answered anyways. So any questions about any of that?
The people that come with an agent, they don't need to do this QR thing because this was automatically going to put them in our CRM, correct?
I mean, that's fine. I would still, if they're with an agent, I would still ask them to do it so you can follow up with the agent if you don't get their information. And so we're being consistent in our approach. But I mean, at the end of the day, if they have an agent with them, you don't have to force them to do it. But at the same time, you need to look at it like, and if you don't get that agent's information, well, then do you know that they're really an agent? Do you know that, can you follow up with them? No, you can't. So you need to get information one way or another. I think it would make more sense to be consistent and just, make sure that everybody does it. Unless, of course, they've booked a showing through the showing service at the same time.
Does that QR code have the option? I couldn't see for them to say, yes, I have an agent, or no, I don't?
It did.
Okay. Then that's fine then. Yeah.
That was one of my questions. So I guess you can set it up. So if we book the open house
Mhm.
from 10 to 12 in Broker Bay, if somebody tries to go book it and they're just like not paying attention to that there's an open house, they're gonna feel like it's booked that time, right?
Well, me personally, I always allow overlapping showings
Yeah.
when I set something up,
Okay.
showing service, so it shouldn't block them out.
And I usually will text the agent directly, Connor, and be like, hey, got your showing. FYI, there's an open house going on from X to X. Just, you know, and sometimes they know and sometimes they don't.
Okay, so y'all just leave it open to,
Yeah.
obviously I haven't done an open house. I mean, I haven't
Listening.
scheduled
No,
an
no,
open
no.
house.
You're good. No, no,
So
no.
I know like usually if you book in Broker Bay from
Mhm.
11 to 12, it won't allow other people to book. So that's what I was worried about, is that people are just gonna be like, oh, it's booked at that time, we can't go. But that makes sense.
Yeah, I do what he does. I just leave it on overlap.
Yeah.
And primarily, my thought process behind that is twofold. Well, I want people to get in as often as they can, so I allow overlapping showings. Also, as a listing agent, I want multiple buyers there at the same time to give a sense of urgency. You know what I mean? For my sellers, I want
Yeah.
multiple buyers there at the same time because I want people to say, oh, okay, there's obviously other people interested in this house. If I'm interested in it, I need to get my stuff together.
Yeah.
Any questions?
So the QR code, we can make it for that specific property. So like for
Yes.
this weekend, your property, once it's live, we can
Mhm.
go and make that QR code and then they register specifically to our.
Correct. Because you're going to build the form in your CRM. So when they register, it'll come to you.
Okay, that's what I was gonna ask Doug. So like for my Leland listing that's coming on, if she's doing an open house, she creates the QR code through her own thing in
Yeah.
Lofty for herself. Got
Yes.
it.
Because if you do it, it's going to come to you.
Yeah, okay.
So she'll
And
set
then-
it up for her.
Okay. Okay.
And then, so if they have an agent, would I just
I would,
transfer the lead to?
I would just trash them or whatever. Or you can send them to whoever the listing agent is.
That's what I was gonna ask.
This person registered at the open house. If you want to follow up with them, they have an agent. Here's their agent information. Or
Okay.
whatever.
Okay.
So Connor, I mean, if you want to try the QR code, oh, well, you're doing Doug's open house this weekend, aren't you?
Yeah, I'll do a QR code for this weekend and
See how
see how that. Now, like some of the houses, obviously you guys know I'm not like the most technical person ever, like technology wise person. But if there's like no internet, some of these houses we showed, there's like no service. Will they still be able to register with the QR code?
I always just tether my phone to my laptop, so it use it like a hotspot. If you are worried or you can't do that, I would just say let the listing agent know, and we can see if we can get their Wi-Fi information to make sure you can connect.
Or maybe also
like,
bring a paper sign in too, just in case you have trouble.
usually I use the hotspot on my phone for my laptop and stuff. I just didn't know, like, if people coming in didn't have service, like if you're in the middle of nowhere and there's no service, would they still be able to register through the QR code?
Hopefully.
To take paper just in case.
Yeah, probably a good idea to have a backup just in case.
Okay.
But I mean, I think it's pretty cool. You know, people are getting used to the QR codes now for like menus and everything. So I would just make it very front and center so they see it right away. Welcome to our open house. Please register, scan the QR code. And as close as you can put that to the front door, if not outside the front door, you know, just to set the expectation that, hey, this is an expectation.
Stop.
Yeah.
Yeah, we had to do that.
People are even putting them on their signs now, so you can just
and like you can take that QR code and like drop it into a Word document if you want to, and like put other language on there. You could take that Google Doc that says welcome, and you could drop the QR code in there. I'll leave that to you guys to edit as needed, but those are all options that you can do. And if somebody comes up with a really good template, share it, and I'll put it out there for everybody to use. But I think you could just as easily use that table topper and drop the QR code in there. That's really it. I don't think open houses have to be that complicated, but you do need to be mindful about things, and you do need to come with a plan, and you do need to be prepared in advance to have the most successful open house possible. And again, remember, it's twofold. You're there representing the firm and the listing agent if it's not your house. So you're there to aid the team as well. But it's also a great benefit of being on the team to have the opportunity to do open houses to grow your client base, right? And especially starting out, I did open houses, God, endlessly, like every weekend. And I got a lot of clients from doing open houses. And it was because, I was there, I was friendly, I engaged with them, I asked questions about where they were in the process, and then I offered them other options if that wasn't the place. I've probably sold one, maybe two actual open houses, but the majority of them were other properties of clients that I work with that I met at an open house. And if you think about it, that's not really that different than an internet lead, right? Or it's not that different from, we usually don't sell them, or they usually don't buy the first property that they look at. And that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. And if you go in it with the expectation that that's probably how it's going to play out, you're going to set yourself up even to be more successful. So, any other questions about that before I stop the recording?
Is there any like open house I mean, I know you said like passing out the flyers and stuff and obviously pushing it on social media, but is there anything that you guys have come across that you feel like this really attracts attention to an open house besides like a social post?
The directionals and balloons are big, so people just like, oh, I was in the area, I didn't know, and I popped by, kind of deal.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the biggest thing. Amanda and they're building a new neighborhood down the street from us, and there was an open house sign out the other day, and on the way back from Costco, we went in there. And I wasn't looking at the neighborhood otherwise, but I saw the sign, so we popped in. So you want to make sure that you've got the directionals out there so people are aware. And our new directionals basically say open house now. So it's very apparent that if it's out, the house is open. So, make sure that it's out there, especially again, if you're like in one of these neighborhoods that you got to make like 3 turns to get to the house. Prepare in advance and know what you need to bring to make sure that people know how to get there.
That's the Leland house, Connor.
Well,
it's
wait
Doug's
till
house
the house
this time
in
too.
because it is way back there.
Hey, when's that going on? Today?
Hopefully today. I'm waiting for exterior pictures. They did interior pictures Tuesday, but it was raining, so Josh went back yesterday to do exterior pictures. So hopefully have those back today and can activate today.
Nice.
Yeah, I was like, I'm gonna ride by and see what it looks like, and it was like down a gravel road and it was wooded, and I was like, I'll just wait till it's live.
It's really cool, but it takes a little bit to get back there.
Yeah.
All right, I'm gonna stop the recording. Anybody else have anything else for the actual open house discussion? Any other questions? Ashley, you got anything?
No, I'm good, thank you.
Yes, you're welcome.
So for the new open house signs, like I'm doing Saturday, Ellen's doing Sunday. So I need to put them up. Like, do we need to put them up for each of our things since it says open house now?
Yes, I would.
Okay.
For the directions, yeah.
Okay.
And you could probably just leave them there, if you wanted to, so she can just get them and go grab them and put them back out. Or, since you live near the office and she's going to have to come by the office to get there anyways, maybe you could do that. I would just, kind of coordinate to make it easier for both of you.
Okay. That's it.
Okay. Well, I hope this was helpful to everybody.